about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
And it is week number 2 of Cowboys Training Camp, with the first preseason game a little over a week away. It is great to be back with you today for another edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. That is the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Marcus Mosher, crushing it every day with Landon McCool, along with former Cowboys coach, the one and only Glenn Stretch Smith. Coming up on today's show, all kinds of Cowboys news, including another Micah Parsons update. But when we started the show on Monday night, we got the horrible news at the beginning about Tyler Guyton's injury, speculation going wild that it was a torn ACL. But then, Marcus, you broke into the show and broke the news that it was a broken bone. Good. See the alliteration there. So not a torn ACL, broken bone. More importantly, all seriousness. So where are we now, and where is Nathan Thomas?
Well, I'll start with this with Tyler Guyton. We had Brian Schottenheimer talking about the Guyton injury during Wednesday's pre-practice press conference. That's a lot of piece. And one of the things that he said is he thinks there's a chance that he even beats the initial timeline, which is the 4 to 6 weeks. They think maybe this isn't as serious as they thought, and maybe it's just a knee sprain that he's going to be able to play through. I hope the Cowboys don't rush Guyton back for his sake, because I want him to be 100% when he gets back on the field, and that way he can have confidence in that knee whenever he's ready to go. But in the meantime, they are very excited about Nathan Thomas, who they drafted from Louisiana in the 7th round last year. They moved him to guard. He got put on the IR list early into camp. And now, if I had to bet, I think he's probably your week 1 starting left tackle against the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's kind of scary, but it's also a little exciting at the same time, because this is a young player that we're excited to watch.
Yeah, putting these guys and giving these guys that kind of opportunity, to me, it's only going to help your depth, overall depth. It'll help the growth of the football team. And quite frankly, this is one of those scenarios where it's an iron sharpens iron mentality. You don't want to lose guys, but attrition is a part of the game. So if you can get guys more playing time in the preseason, more practice time and joint practices, it only helps the down the line guys. And I'm saying the guys that aren't getting all of that practice time, because once you get into the season, you don't have time to practice those guys. They go through their individual period, but that period those are very short periods. And so it's an invaluable asset when you can get guys playing time in the preseason and even early in season. And yeah, could it be ugly? It could. That the downside to it is, could he turn somebody loose off the edge? Yeah, he could, but that's part of it. You're trying to right now in training camp cross every T and dot every I, and it's hard to do.
And I will say, just one of the things that you want to see from Nate Thomas, whether it's through the training camp practices or as we get closer to the preseason, is, does the moment look too big for him? Right? There's, Coach, and I'm sure you can talk about a lot of players in your past where you might be excited about them, and then you get them on the field and it's like, oh crap, these guys, they're not ready. It doesn't seem like that's the case for Nate Thomas. He's going to lose his share of matchups, especially if they play the Eagles and the Giants the first couple of weeks. Like, he's going to give up some pressure, but is it something that he can bounce back from? Is he able to have some more wins than losses? Just something to keep an eye on as we kind of inch toward the regular season.
And that's not always the best position to be in, because I got news for you. You think Vic Fangio is not going to know if he's out there which way you're sending your back?
Of course.
He's going to know. He's going to know the first second you line up that you're sending your back to help him. So all of those things, to me, help with the preseason time. That's where you want to see him get some time, is in this preseason.
Refresh my memory, guys. I forgive me. With the Rangers and the Mavs and everything going on, it's a blur. Did he play at all? Did he get a lot of snaps?
No. So last year he played a little bit in the preseason. Then he had some kind of mysterious injury that we didn't hear about, and then he went on the IR list at like in middle of August. So we didn't get to see him at all during the regular season. But
okay,
one of the things that was challenging for him last year is this is somebody who was a left tackle in high school and in college, and he has a bunch of starts at left tackle. And the Cowboys were moving him to guard. They are having him play left guard, right guard. And it's just different. Now he's back to the position that he's played for his entire life. Again, he doesn't have the foot speed of Tyler Guyton. He doesn't necessarily have the arm length, but he's a powerful player. And I know the Cowboys are very excited about him.
And that's the thing. I mean, you have to be comfortable on that left side because pass protection, that is how you're kicking. You're kicking with that left foot. And a lot of guys, it takes a little time to get used to doing that. And so if you are and you do have familiarity with that, it makes it easier to coach some of the better points. And they know what they have in Awesome Richards because Awesome Richards did get some time there. And so they know what they got. Now let's see what we got with this kid, and then let's gauge it knowing we got and we're creating more depth for this football team in case something does happen to one of these guys.
And we should mention one of the reasons, at least Landon and I think, that Awesome Richards isn't getting the first crack at being this left tackle is because they think it's going to be a relatively short absence for Tyler Guyton. And they have a role for Awesome Richards. Right now, he's their swing tackle. You're going to need that guy on game day, but he's also being used as this sixth offensive lineman. He's being used as a tight end in some situations. It feels like they have a very specific role for Awesome Richards, and they don't feel like moving him full-time to left tackle if Guyton's only going to be out a game or two.
Okay, that makes sense. One final question on that. I know they don't like to play any of the regulars during the preseason, but Coach, would you think something like this, you would want him to get live game action?
Would want who to get live game
Nathan
action?
Nathan Thomas.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I would think so too.
I want to see him play. Yeah, I want to see him play a quarter of the game. I want to see him.
More than that. I hope he plays like into the third quarter because he just doesn't have very many reps.
The first game. I'm talking about the first game and how you get guys ramped up.
Yeah,
so I'm talking about game one. I want to see him play a quarter, and then I want to see him play a half, and then absolutely, he's going to get
good
and should get ample playing time. And I think what Marcus is saying, and they have a role for what they want to do with Awesome Richards, but I'm also telling you that they think they know what they have in him. So this is not something where if you have to move him kind of 10 days, let's say, before you play Philadelphia, he's going to move over there and know what to do. It's not going to be unfamiliar territory for him. So a swing tackle is somebody that has value in the National Football League, and they have value because they are strong enough mentally to understand what they need to do.
Bingo.
Yeah. All right. And to your point, Marcus, I mean, they'll, I'm sure, have a really good idea pretty quickly about how he'll do and how comfortable he is, talking about Nate Thomas again, and how he fits with that old.
Yeah, and real quick, the Cowboys have this scrimmage with the Rams coming up next week. He's going to see a lot of Jared Verse, who is a really darn good pass rusher. I think we'll have a good idea by the end of next week where Nathan Thomas is at.
Yeah, he's pretty good. All right, well, in addition to, Marcus, your work with Landon on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Landon has been attending training camp.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Love what he's doing there. Yesterday, though, three fights during practice yesterday. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer stealing a page from Jimmy Johnson a little bit, even Tom Landry, called practice early, called it off early, and Coach, he made not only the players run, but some of the coaches as well for all the fighting and practice. Did you ever have to run, Coach? What do you think of that?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, listen, I appreciate Brian Schottenheimer, giving these guys some kind of consequence. I think the big thing is they left like 12, 15 snaps out of the reps because they had to cancel practice because they couldn't stop fighting. And that's going to hurt some of these young guys trying to make the roster. So I think he's trying to show, hey, we have a team that has a lot of talent, but if we can't be disciplined, we have no chance at being successful this year. So we'll see if it means, Thursday when they practice, if the fighting stops, but it's getting a little out of hand right now.
Well, and this is where you need to see somebody else. You're tired of seeing another guy over there with the same jersey, same color hat, same. In this situation, this is where you got to start talking to your football team about gelling as a unit, about coming together, about taking care of one another. So, no, was fights part of it? They're part of it, but you gotta kind of control. You got to control your players. I can tell you when I was a young coach at Oklahoma, and this probably would not have worked at the National Football League, but we had James Good, who was a really good, and I think he was drafted by Miami, and then we had Adrian Cooper, who played for a while in Pittsburgh, was the tight end. And these two during camp wouldn't quit fighting. And finally, Lucius Selman had enough of it. He had them walk around the practice field and hold hands for 30 minutes. Said, the hell with it. You just hold hands. And he was bad enough to get it done. So is that going to work in the NFL? No. But it's almost like those are the things that you're preaching to your guys is, and this is one of your teammates. All of you are valued here. And, I don't have much to say on it other than it feels like this far in camp to be getting after your teammate. It's a little Rudy Poo butt. That's how I feel about it.
I need you to explain something to me, Coach. Why would anybody want to punch somebody else in the helmet? That's never made any sense to me. Like, what are you trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, break your hand. That's
exactly
what you're trying to do, and it's just.
It never made any sense.
It's not like it's a reactionary thing, and that's what I'm talking about. It's a reactionary thing that you have to understand. We all, your a natural reaction is to, if somebody's going to hit you, to move, number one, and then to react back to them. But you have to be, it's something it has to be in the frontal lobe of your mind. It's cognitively got to be what's going on. And you got to be telling fellas, it really is. It's a constant thing of knowing, take care of one another. Take care of one another. We're trying to learn how to practice. We're trying to learn how to, what happened to Tyler Guyton? Them guys falling on the ground, stay off the ground. And take care of one another. You got to know how to do that. And there's a certain level of moving from college football to the NFL that has to be taken into consideration. And I think the one downside to what college football is doing right now, or the downside of them having roster limitations, is you're going to have to learn how to practice at that level too, because you can't be falling on the ground. That's when guys get hurt, when guys are on the ground. And so I'm spinning off into something you're not asking me. At the end of the day, take care of one another.
Yeah. It's nonsense and it's stupid. And all it does is disrupt practice. And I get that Shotty wants us to be a more physical and tough team, but do it between the whistle. Don't do it after the whistle, because it doesn't accomplish anything.
One of our regular commenters, Marvel Jesus, jumping in, says they should play more music at practice. Maybe that'll.
It's pretty loud at practice as it is. I don't think they need any more music.
And you got the fans there as well. All right. When we come back, we have a couple of Micah Parsons notes. I'm really not like trying to get into this or looking forward to getting into it, but I feel like we need to at least address it. So we'll do that when we come back. Also, we do want to hear from you. via the comment crew, the comment section. So please, if you're with us, jump in, get your thoughts. If you want to ask Marcus anything or the coach as well, we'll do that when we come back. Great to be with you. Final day of July. August will be here tomorrow. Can't believe it already. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Well, I don't know about you. I was up late last night after midnight doing the Rangers show, and the time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion is now's a good time. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Now, what's the weirdest course you've ever played? Did you ever have any odd challenges that really threw you off your game? Well, golf, as you know, all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course. So the grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your first order. This offer is only valid through September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Now, whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Okay, we're back. The Cowboys Squad Show, the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, and Marcus Mosher. Good to see you.
I'm picturing you chasing down the bev cart, trying to get yourself a Slim Jim one afternoon. That's a good shot. You know, you got your 5-hour energy, and you're over there. You're pulling your britches up, and you're trying to chase the bev cart down for a Slim Jim. I got the picture.
Well, Coach called me when I was on the golf course the other day, and he was shocked that I was out during, while training camp was going on. So he was yelling at me for not being committed.
You were more in line with the peanut butter crackers at that time of day. So I got.
Yeah, that's true. You're good.
Yeah, I like to prepare in advance. I have kind of everything I need in my bag, and don't like to overpay for things, but I get your point. That would be funny if
you're golfing in the cargo britches where you got one of everything, a Hot Wheels car, pet frog, you got one of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get on to something going a direction.
Well, we talked about this on Monday night, that Micah had said that he's kind of discouraged that the deal isn't done yet. And then after our show was done, I think it was Tuesday, the next day, Adam Schefter reported that, according to him, negotiations have gone backwards or sideways. Let's kind of start there. Do you believe that, or do you think that's just more chatter to fill the void here until something gets done?
I tend to believe it a little bit, because all the reports that we got back from March were that they were really close to a deal. They just needed to get everybody in to sign it. And it didn't happen. And now we are going into August. The pads are on. The Rams are, coming to town, and he still doesn't have a deal, and he's not practicing. And I've been saying all offseason, if we get to August 1st and Micah doesn't have a deal, that's when I'll be concerned about him potentially missing time into the season or not being ready, right? Like we saw CeeDee Lamb last year show up late in August, and it took him a good month before he was kind of ready to go. It feels like it's gone backwards, but I will say these things can get done at any time, right? Like you guys make a phone call and it's done later in the afternoon. So it might feel a long way away, but that doesn't mean that it always is.
Yeah, I mean we got three parties that we're talking about here, right? You got Jerry, Steven, you got his representatives, you got Micah. Did they initially have some sort of baseline deal done? Probably all the way back in OTAs, probably. And then the agent wanted to have, kind of his part in it, or his client feel like he was stepping up for his side. And so then we heard that, and now we know what's going on with Watt. I don't care whether you think it has anything to do with it or not, it does. And the 3 at 123 has something to do with the 4 that Micah's that Jerry is wanting, and Micah's wanting. And so and then I think Jerry is sitting back again. I know how he thinks. And I can't stress this enough. When you have a quarterback making the money he's making, when you have a receiver making the money he's making, which are they'll be 2 of the highest. They are 2 of the highest paid guys at their position. Now you're going to get the 3rd highest paid guy at his position, and they've got you penciled in as a 500 football team, telling you it ain't going to sit well with this owner. It is not going to sit well. And I understand as a fan, I understand all the people want him signed. I get all of that. But at the end of the day, he is under contract this year, and I can tell you that it is not sitting well with Jerry or Steven, and that's why, there's jockeying. Is he returning the phone call? Aren't they returning phone calls? Has it gone, have they gone dark in the situation? It's not sitting well with them where they're at right now with this football team. And I'm just telling you that from that standpoint, it is sticking in his, it's sticking in his craw right now.
It might, but the problem is you're still going to pay Micah, right? Because Micah is your best player on this team, and they can't afford him to not be out there. But I understand what your point is. Like, is it worth paying all this money for a team that might be a 500 team? Maybe not. But after you did the deals with Dak and CD, you don't have any choice right now with Micah. Like, if you were going to trade Micah, you would have done it back in March, before the draft. You don't do it now. To me, this just feels like a lot of nonsense. Like, we know that Mike is going to get the deal that he wants. It's probably going to be a 4-year deal, probably paying him around $43 million a year. Why do we have to go through all this song and dance? Because we know that he's going to get paid and he's going to be here. Let's just get it done.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm simply giving you another pair of glasses to put on. I'm telling you, you got to look at it through some other lenses sometimes. And yeah. I truly believe that Jerry and Steven are over there thinking, is this, and it's not as if they have another choice. It's not like they're saying, hey, we got to pivot here and go this direction. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into the way I feel about the deal that they gave the quarterback, because it's like water under the bridge. But that's the problem. That is the problem. And if you ignore that elephant in the room, then you're blind.
23 minutes we got to talk about Dak's contract. We're getting better every show.
Yeah, I think there was one the other day. It wasn't until like 55. So
no, but actually, Coach isn't wrong here. Like, when you're paying this much money to 2 guys, and we should mention, like, Tyler Smith is going to get a monster deal. He's either going to be the highest paid guard in the league or like the 3rd highest paid tackle, however you want to classify it. You're going to have a lot of guys at the very top end of their positions. And this isn't to say that they shouldn't pay Micah, because they will and they should, right? But I do think they're going to look at their team and be like, man, we spent a lot of money to be a team that might not make the playoffs. How do we do a better job of adjusting this money so that we can have a playoff team? We'll see.
And so that I can set the record straight, from now till January, Jeff, is it you that does the when we first break in, is it you that pushes the button over there that says, yes, here comes the squad show?
Yes.
Okay, right after that, from now on, every show, I'll step up and tell you what a horse shit contract that is. I'm talking about right as soon as we go. Ain't no damn ha-ha and he. I'll tell you as soon as we go, as soon as that cuts off.
Then we can move on, right? Then we'll be good.
Then we can get on with the show. And I'll do it every damn show from now till through January.
Maybe we could get –
ask the guy that listens in that likes to critique the show, ask him what he thinks about that.
Maybe we could we'll get you like a little kind of Woody Page kind of a sign, or something that like a prop for
There you go. I like it.
Stick. That way you don't have to.
What'd you do? When you watched Fox News this morning, you had Karl Rove on there with his little whiteboard.
Oh yeah, there you go. That too.
There you go. That'd be great.
Forgot about that.
Let's get on to something going in direction, man.
All right. Well, the only thing I wanted to add is back to the chatter part of it. I mean, now you're already seeing Micah trade proposals and ideas. One of them was with Seattle, and to me, it's hard. For me, it's hard to go too much further than what we have already discussed, because we don't really know what the real issue. We don't know if it's an amount. We don't know if it's a year. We don't know
years
guarantees. But I think I think this is fair. A fair criticism is fans get confused because they say, well, wait a minute, you made Dak, you overpaid Dak, you really paid CeeDee Lamb. Like if of all the guys that you would want to really take care of, it would be Micah, right? Like you said, he's the best player. So it's almost like, why is he getting punished for the past failures? I mean, you can't. You're going both ways here.
It's just, unfortunately, this is the way they do business, right? We saw Dak Prescott signed the morning of week 1 last year. CeeDee Lamb didn't sign until I think August 27th last year. Zach Martin, a Hall of Fame guard, had to sit out multiple weeks of camp to get the contract that he deserved to be one of the highest paid guards in the league. Unfortunately, this is just the way they kind of operate. So I don't think they're punishing Micah. I just think they like to take their time here.
Well,
and the flip side of that is you talk about, are other teams seeing – other teams are aware of what's going on in the league. And if John Schneider, who is the GM of Seattle, is sitting around watching practice and he thinks – man, we're pretty good up here offensively. We've traded for Sam Darnold, and we've upgraded here and we've upgraded there. And I just, I got my cell phone here. Let me call Steven and just ask him. Just ask him. Just gauge put your foot in the water and say, hey, I know you guys are having. They know where the money is being spent. They could say, hey, I know you guys are kind of there. What would it take? Just throw the lure out there. What would it take? I'm sure I would be willing to bet you that there are multiple teams that are doing that. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys are remotely entertaining that. That's not what I'm saying. But I can tell you that certainly when you are the best defensive player in the league, when you're this dynamic with everything that you can do, when you can play damn near every position on the defensive side, there's immense value there. And I guarantee you they're taking calls from other teams who are saying, man, if this keeps going on, maybe we could catch them on the right day where they wouldn't want as much as they would want. I mean, who would blame any GM for calling Jerry or Steven right now to ask them what it would take to get them to move on from Micah Parsons?
You know how I would handle those trade talks, though, if I was Steven? Like if
hang
John
up.
Schneider comes me, hey, we wonder about the price on Micah. Beep, hang up. Like that's it. Like that's how I'd handle it. Because first of all, do you think Micah wants to go play with DeMarcus Lawrence? I don't think so. But there's just no way after you're paying all these guys money, right? You're paying Dak, the highest paid quarterback in the league. Ding. You're paying CeeDee Lamb. I just don't think it makes sense to go out and trade your best player on your team when you're clearly trying to win now. Again, just to sum this all up, Mike is going to get a deal.
I am not in any way saying that.
No, I know.
What I'm telling you is flip the script on the scenario and think about all the other teams in the National Football League, which is every single one.
I'm sure teams are doing this for Trey Henderson as well.
What would our defense look like if we had that guy that wears number 11 for the Cowboys in this camp? And
of course,
there's nothing wrong with that. You guys hear me say it all the time. It's a Casey mentality. Keep your feet in the ground and reach for the stars. Hell, what's wrong with that mentality?
Nothing. If you're another GM, like this is what you should be doing. But if you're Steven and Jerry Jones, You're politely saying thanks, but no thanks. Again, just to be clear, all three of us think that Mike is going to get his deal done. We think it's going to probably be before week 1. It'll probably be a 4-year deal. But they're probably, I'm sure behind closed doors, the Cowboys are having these kinds of conversations with the full intent of giving Micah the deal that he wants.
All right. Well, I want to say punishing is probably the wrong choice of words on my part. But I guess what I was trying to convey is going from the handshake deal allegedly in the spring to now going backwards. Something's changed. Something's
They
happened.
haven't gone backwards. I guarantee if Michael wanted to sign a 4-year 160 right now, you think they wouldn't sign it?
No, he would.
No, I'm saying you think Jerry would.
Oh, Jerry would 100%. I don't know if Mike.
Before you could say who shit there, he would.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. That's 100% right. So I'm not trying to use bad verbiage. I'm just saying. I mean, it isn't like it's. We're not talking about putting a car in reverse and driving backwards here. We're talking about a guy who has seen a guy who was not. He didn't think was going to get in that ballpark of money, and now it's reset. It's reset and recalibrated the number. And I think that you have both sides somewhat saying from Micah's side, yeah, we got to reset that 40, whatever that number was. We got to go up here. And then you got Jerry saying, I don't know if I can go all the way up there. Look at what I got here. I've only got so many ways to cut this pie. And so it's more than just Micah that you got to take into consideration here. And it's like what Marcus was saying earlier. I mean, it's like a deal that Smith's going to get. We know that they have other guys. It's like the deal that Ferguson got. You've got other players that need to be paid. And so it's how you cut all that up. And I truly believe that when TJ Watt got that deal, I think it just recalibrated the whole scenario. And now maybe they are kind of stepping back and saying, hey, we're not going to answer the phone. And okay, we're going to, we thought we had a handshake deal in place here, regardless of what TJ Watt did.
All right. Well, the Cowboys did make a move, not a big move, but a move. We'll tell you about that when we come back. Want to get your thoughts on the bigger picture of that as well. Also, the comments are coming in. We appreciate that. Thank you guys for jumping in and being a part of the show with your thoughts, and also watching us live and listening later on. We'll get to those and more news coming up. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right. Well, if you ever wonder and you ever wish that managing your money felt a little bit easier with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you are also building wealth. If you've ever looked at your spending and maybe you've been surprised by how fast that everything adds up, again, Monarch Money. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's a good deal. monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Okay, we're back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Marcus Mosher, the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, along with the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, the Cowboys made a move. We kind of hinted at it on Monday when we found out that the Cowboys brought in a group of defensive backs that had played under Matt Eberflus, and they ended up signing one of them, corner Christian Matthew, who's been around, kind of bounced around for the last couple of years. But Marcus, what do you know, if anything, about him? And what is the, right now, 2 weeks in, what is the the DB depth and everything look like right now for the Cowboys?
Yeah, so you're going to be surprised to know that this is a big, long athlete, which we know Will McClay loves at cornerbacks. Like he just loves these guys that have the 32, 33-inch arms. But he was an older prospect coming out of college, and that's why he fell to late in the draft. But he was with Matt Eberflus in Chicago for a year. That's probably why they brought him in. And Landon and I talked about this, in an earlier episode this week. They don't need necessarily guys that come in and be starters right now for them. What they need is guys to just facilitate practice and play in the preseason, because you've got a lot of guys that you think are going to be ready in September, but aren't ready now, whether that's Savon Ravel, Trayvon Diggs, Josh Butler, Kalen Carson. Like all these guys are coming back, but they're not going to be ready in August at any point. So you need guys that are just going to be out there being able to give you snaps. And Christian Matthew is somebody who has been in training camps the last couple of years. He's played in regular season games. He's been on special teams units. And that's why he makes more sense now than going out and signing a quote unquote big name corner like Stephon Gilmore or Rasul Douglas.
100% correct. That's a defensive coordinator walking in and them saying, hey, in pro personnel, here are the three guys that we got. And him looking up there and going, hey, I'm familiar with him. Bring him in. What kind of shape's he in? Bring him in here and let's work these 2 or 3, 4 guys out during the off day. Okay. Ultimately, I'm comfortable with him. This is how, if you just look at the scenario, that this is how it works. It is ultimately right now, Matt Eberflus has kind of got the bullhorn on that side, and he's saying, hey, let me get somebody that I'm familiar with. That again, we can go through every one of these scenarios, and I can tell you that it's exactly how this organization works with how they handle not only giving guys extensions and contracts, but who they're listening to, and then, quite frankly, who has the floor. We could go back for years and years and chart. I mean, all the way back to Tristan Hill and Rod Marinelli. You know what I mean? We can go just start charting things that this team has done from a personnel standpoint, and knowing that ultimately they listen to Will McClay, give the options, and then normally the position coach or the coordinator will say, I feel good about X, Y, whatever that is. And in this scenario, right now where the Cowboys are, they don't even have enough guys to really go one-on-one on the outside, go 7-on-7. You got to get guys knowing you got a joint practice coming up that you got to be able to practice, and you got to be able to facilitate practice. So it's just, to me, this is just a move of bringing somebody in that there's a certain familiarity with.
Glenn, real quick, I was going to tell you that this Christian Matthew, his wingspan, I believe, is the same size as Tyler Smith. So once you see him on the practice field, he's going to look like a pterodactyl out there at corner, which is what Will McClay loves. He loves these guys, whether it's like Israel Makamu or Nashawn Wright or whoever. Like, he loves these long, athletic corners. Christian Matthew fits the bill.
And I think, I mean, I would be willing to bet if you ask every defensive line coach or a defensive back coach in the NFL, you want a guy with them short, stubby arms? Hell no. They want somebody with length. So, yeah, he fits the profile of what they want right now. So, fine, sign him and bring him in, and let's see what he's got. It's just no harm, no foul here.
Cost you nothing, by the way. Like, these
like
guys are
paying him some sort of big number to come in.
Bingo. It's just to get them through the preseason.
Correct.
All right. With that said, Marcus, we haven't heard a lot about the defense in Eberflus yet, per se, right? We've been talking about the O-line and the running back room and kind of what the offense is doing, but have you heard anything? Has Landon heard anything?
Well, I will say one of the things that Landon has just seen from being out in the practice, there is a lot of energy on that side of the ball. And Matt Eberflus has these guys flying around. And generally, Coach, and you can speak to this, the defense is usually ahead of the offense within the first 2 weeks of camp, and then the offense starts to pick things up. But this defense, they are making plays on the ball, whether it's Kyer Elam, Donovan Ezeraku making plays. Marshawn Neeland had a really nice play on a batted ball yesterday. So, yeah, they don't have their stars out there because Micah's not there. Deron Bland has missed the last couple practice. But you do see these guys being fundamentally sound. And this is what we talked about all offseason. Like, Matt Eberflus might not be a great head coach, but he knows defense. Like, wherever he's gone, he's been a really good defensive coordinator, and his defenses have flown around and they've been disciplined. I feel pretty confident that Eberflus is going to get this unit to play to their best ability. Now, we'll see what the talent says they can do, but I do trust Eberflus here.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to Cam Ward and what he says in his first, NFL camp is, well, we're very mediocre on offense, and we're mediocre on offense because our defense is ahead of the learning curve, because it is easier to coordinate a defense. What is your job defensively? Get in that gap and chase the football. Okay, get in this gap, wrap around here, make sure you play this leverage and chase the football. So when you're able to defensively throw a lot of things at them and be able to get in position, the defense is always ahead of the offense. I would guarantee you, I don't care what camp you go into right now, they're all kind of going to say the same thing. Defensively, we're pretty good. We're shutting them down offensively. It just takes a little while for the offenses to gel together, players to gel together, communication to come together, and then you'll start seeing what you want to see, what people want to see from a fantasy football side is offensive football and big plays being made.
Yeah, I'm loving that you're referencing fantasy football. This is great. I think we're going to be able to convince you to play this year. It's awesome.
The first step to recovery is recognition, and I want you to start with your first step of recovery right now and recognize I'm not going.
I think we could call the team name would be Tinker's Ass. That would be a good team name for coaches.
Go play on Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best way to play your fantasy football this year. We're playing this year. Stretch is playing on Yahoo Fantasy as well. We're going to get him.
TikTok
for a plug.
Get the whole thing. 28 things coming up. I was a little not concerned, but the media got to Stephen Jones yesterday, and they got into the whole Trayvon Diggs not getting that roster bonus, and I don't know if that's going to be. It shouldn't be an issue, right? I mean, we've already kind of talked about it. It's right there. I mean, you show up and you get that, and he knew what he was doing. I mean, was it a case maybe he didn't think they would really do that, or
that sounds like the case that Trayvon maybe wasn't quite sure what was in his contract, and maybe he thought if he was progressing well that he would show up to camp and they would waive it, but apparently not. I just think this has been we've got 2 years now of a sample of Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones just not being happy generally with Trayvon Diggs, whether it's the way that he attacked the ACL rehab, whether it's the stuff that happened with Mike Leslie a couple years ago, getting into it with a media member. For whatever reason, there's definitely some friction between the front office and Trayvon Diggs, and I don't think either side has done a good job of trying to scale this down at all. And it feels like this is going to be the last year of them together.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, and I'm going to follow that up. We've also heard from Deron Bland, who was talking to the media earlier this week, that he's having contract discussions right now with the Cowboys front office. I don't believe that the Cowboys are going to be paying two corners $20+ million a year. And I think the Cowboys are telling you, like, hey, we're choosing Deron Bland. That's the guy that we want to invest our money into next year. And I again, maybe things will change, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2026, it's Bland that has a new contract and it's Trayvon who's out.
Interesting. Okay. Any thoughts on that, Coach?
I mean, the scenario with Trayvon, in my mind, is they expected him to be farther along than what he is. And he thinks in his mind, I think that he is ahead of it. He feels like, I heard him say that he feels like he'll be good to go in September. Then I've heard the realistic time frame is October. Now you're talking about a four-game stretch of time where the Cowboys, if they're going to have any chance at all of getting to a 9-win platform, they're going to have to win early in this football season, and they're going to have to win maybe 4 of the first 6 in order to reach what is their, more than what Vegas has them over and under winning at 8.5. If you don't have your better players out there 4 of those first 6 games, there's an opportunity for this thing to not have a very good taste, for it not to go the direction you want it to. And I don't want to get in here and be the glass half empty guy. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, if you look at it from where Stephen and Jerry sit, that they know where you got to make hay in this schedule. They know where the teams that they have a better opportunity of matching up with and winning those games are. And if you have that opportunity, you want to have your guys out there. And if one of your guys has decided that he's going to take his rehab, and go wherever, and you don't feel like that's the most conducive thing for your football team, then that's kind of where we're at with it. And I do think that what Marcus said is true. I think they value the fact that Deron Bland will be the guy that if something does happen to him, they're not going to have to worry about where he's rehabbing or what he's doing there. Or again, we don't know the intricacies of what's going on as far as how Trayvon feels about how he rehabbed his first knee injury, or is there a rift between he and the training staff, a rift between he and the doctors? We don't know all that. I mean, we're just sitting here throwing blind darts. So if you go on their actions, he was not happy with how the first time and how that first surgery and how that first rehab went. And the Cowboys, if you judge by their actions, are not happy with what happened. So we're piecemealing a puzzle together here.
Yeah, well said. Mr. Sneaky getting in today says Trayvon is softer than Bland. So kind of backs up what you're saying.
Well, I don't like calling players soft, but I will say Bland is more versatile than Trayvon is. And I do think the Cowboys value that, because you have somebody who can play in the slot in the outside, where Trayvon's really only an outside corner. And I do think that's going to matter to them when they get up and try to figure out which corner they want to pay $20 million a year going forward.
All right, we're going to take our final timeout. When we come back, want to talk about the offense a little bit, and also get a little bit of a plug about what's coming up on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast. We will do that literally in seconds on the Cowboys Squad Show. See, told you, we're back. Welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. I always I laugh at that every time, even though I shouldn't. It's stupid, but I do so anyway. Marcus Mosher, the co-host of the Daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, along with the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, a couple things that I wanted to run by you both. So we continue to hear really rave reviews about new addition George Pickens and how he has, how he is fitting in with the offense already. And then I know, Marcus, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are taking a look at the running back room a little bit, or updating where things are right now?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So Jaden Blue got some more work with the first team during Wednesday's practice. Now, a lot of that was red zone period, and there was some passing stuff. So just something to monitor to see, how that's going over the next couple of weeks. We'll see if it continues during the Rams scrimmage. So keep an eye on that. And then for George Pickens, yeah, he's playing really well right now. He's obviously happy to be with CeeDee Lamb. He's happy to be in an offense that he said that actually throws dig routes. I thought that was interesting, where he was talking about how Pittsburgh refused to throw the ball over the middle of the field last year, and it really limited his route tree. He's not lying. If you go look at like his route tree last couple of years in Pittsburgh, it was only vertical shots. So he's getting to show more. There's always some questions about, the maturity with Pickens and what it's going to look like once you get into the season. But so far, so good for the Cowboys' new addition at receiver.
All right. And we talked about Jake Ferguson and his deal, and now with the O-line. Been a little quiet with Dak. We haven't heard a ton yet. I know it's early. I know it's just getting into week number 2. But so far, it seems like everybody's comfortable with the offense and what Schottenheimer's doing.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's been sleeping really good on that like $60 million mattress that he has from Sleep Number. Shout out to his new contracted sponsor. Dak is having a Dak camp. And what I mean by that is Dak has never been the best practice player. And this even dates back to his rookie season. Like, he's somebody who is going to throw some interceptions, and he's going to be kind of all over the place with the ball. And some of that is by design. I think a lot of these quarterbacks, especially once you've been around in the league for a while, you're using training camp to see what you can get away with and what you can't do, and what kind of reads you can make and what throws you can and can't make. So we should never overreact to Dak having, multiple interceptions and can't, because this is kind of what he does. But it does. I think the best part is he looks healthy. There's been some plays where he's been running. The arm looks live, and physically he looks great, which is great news for the Cowboys.
Yeah, you want to see him. I mean, you want to see him take the bull by the horns this year and be that guy. The one thing you can't do, we can sit here and say what we want to about the Micah deal. This organization has done every single thing they could do to facilitate for a quarterback.
Absolutely.
Signed a 2 wide receiver, signed a tight end that he has his most comfort with. Going to do everything they can to keep the offensive line healthy and rolling.
Hired a head coach that he likes.
Yeah, it's on him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 100% on him. So if the offense goes this year, it'll go as he goes, and if it doesn't, then we'll it'll give us a lot to talk about on this show.
Yeah, and you're right. Every point that you made is right. But I do think one of the things the Cowboys, at least we're hoping to do this offseason, is build up the offensive line, build up the run game so they can take some of the pressure off Dak's plate so he doesn't feel like he has to do it all. And I think this was sometimes his biggest problem last year. So he felt the pressure of, hey, we can't run the ball. I only have one receiver I trust. I got to start trying to do more. And that's actually where Dak is at his worst. When he tries to be Superman, don't do that. Go be a point guard. Go deliver the ball to where it needs to be. Let your run game be your run game. And I think the Cowboys are hoping if they're a little bit more balanced, maybe that's when we're going to see the best version of Dak.
And you got to call the run.
Yeah, you got to call it. Yep.
You can't just do what they've done in the past, which is give it verbal diarrhea. Yeah, we want to run the ball and then throw it 50 times a game. Yeah, we really would like to run the ball, throw it 52 times a game. You got if that's what you want to do, then you know what? When it's 2nd and 9, call the run. And it's easy to say this time of year. It really is. It's easy to sit and say, like I said, I mean, it's easy to catch verbal diarrhea. We want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. We want to line up in 12 personnel and go hit them in the mouth. We want to run the ball. Okay, good. 1st and 10, 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8. What are you gonna do? 1st and 10.
Passing on 3rd and 8.
That 2nd and 10
run would be bad.
Run the ball. Or, you got to run the ball. I mean, I hear guys say that all the time, and yes, is that gonna be ultimately what helps make him successful? 100%. But you have to commit to running the football, and it has to be something that you eat, sleep, drink the whole 9 yards. And I'm only talking from my own personal point of experience, because I know what it's like when we had the guy who's got the all-time rush leader in the NFL. I know how much we worked at running the football. I know it was something that it was ingrained in what we were doing. And so, is that really the case? Because it is something you can't be partially committed to. You have to go all in.
And we are seeing the Cowboys, at least in these practices, be under center more, which is more conducive to having a better run game. We've seen them use some more pistol. We've seen them do a lot of different things in the run game, whether it's lining Kevontae Turpin up in the backfield, even giving CeeDee Lamb and Turpin some jet sweeps and just other things to try to take some of the pressure off of Dak. We'll see what the run game looks like, but I can tell you from this year compared to previous years, they are emphasizing that position more, or that part of the game more, and they are really working on it versus, all right, it's 1st and 10. Here's a draw out of shotgun, and then we're going to get to our 2 passes.
Well, we talked about it a lot leading up to training camp about how, hey, running the football has been Brian Schottenheimer's MO when he's had the opportunity. I mean, he usually gets his offenses near the top in that category. And also we had some more Lipke love on Monday. So maybe, I don't think he would just come out and say that if it's not kind of in the plan.
Did you know that Hunter Lipke is Landon's favorite player? So anytime that we talk about Hunter Lipke, and it seems like Brian Schottenheimer really likes Hunter Lipke as well. So I'm curious to see what his role is going to be. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying. And the fact that he brought him up again on Monday leads me to think, okay, maybe like Coach is saying, he is, this is really the real deal, that it's really going to be a focal point.
If Hunter Lipke could develop into, this is going to be like sacrilegious saying this, but one of my favorite players growing up when I was watching like the 2003 Cowboys that were kind of fun was Richie Anderson, because Richie Anderson could do a little bit, right? He could a little bit of everything. He could block. You could put him at back as the lone tailback, and he could run the ball. He also had some really nice passes in 2003 when the Cowboys passing game wasn't very good. But I think they're envisioning him having a role of like, hey, you're going to be a tight end on some of these plays. You're going to line up in line. You're going to be offset. You're going to be the backfield, the back on 3rd and 8 when we need somebody to pass block. It seems like they are really excited about Hunter Lipke.
All right. Coach, you're looking good, buddy. You comfortable? Everything good?
I thought I would bring up the early 2000s to get a reaction out of Coach.
Yeah.
Stone face.
All of that. I sometimes I get tired of talking. Sometimes God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk.
I'm just saying, Richie Anderson was one of my favorite players from the early 2000s. He's such a good player.
I'll sit back and listen to the story time, and I'll just kind of dial in and let it marinate a little bit before I react. So I think. I'm all about whatever it takes to get guys in position to be successful and winning football games. And so whatever that is, if that means that if that means that this young man is a jack of all trades and he is he has a pipe wrench mentality. We can do all kinds we can work on everything. Perfect.
Nice.
Get him in that position and get him the football. Let's see what happens.
It's nice to have those guys on your roster that can wear a lot of different hats on game day, whether that's on special teams or, hey, you got a tight end injury, he can be our tight end 3. It's very useful to have those players, and I think Lipke will be one of them.
No question. I mean, and especially in, when he can adjust. Let's say somebody goes down in game, and you get down in a goal line short yardage situation, and you got to have him line up as a tight end. He may not go win on the front side, but can he cut the guy off on the backside? I mean, all of those little things, absolutely. You want to be able to have guys that, and it's invaluable to have those guys that can get in different positions and go help you. We know short yardage and goal line. Why is everybody
Yep.
talking about the tush push so much? Because it's so very incredibly successful. So if you can have that success in short yardage and goal line, and you just turn one of those scenarios into kicking a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal, I mean, that's a big number for you.
So you win games. All right, Coach, thank you for that. Versatility and ability, two big keys for sure.
Yep.
Marcus, final thoughts before we go. What's coming up on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast?
Yeah, Landon's out at Cowboy Camp again on Thursday. They'll have another padded practice, so we'll break it down. We'll have all the notes, all of the good discussions from that practice. Make sure you guys tune in.
All right, enjoy the next couple of days of the weekend, and we will be back with you again on Monday night, counting down to the preseason opener next weekend. Not this weekend, but coming up a week from Saturday. Can't wait. All right, for Marcus Mosher and the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, thank you for watching the Cowboys Squad Show.